minutes. Okay. All right, call the meeting to order. Everybody had a chance to look at the agenda for today.
You want to announce who's present?
Okay. Let's see, we have Judy Deutsch and Ben Shampoo on Zoom. Mary Longacre with Warren, myself at the committee, and Dale Gary and Charlie Flush in attendance. So we definitely have a quorum. All right. Do we have a motion on the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
All right, has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes of the last meeting?
Yes.
I have not. I'm gonna actually look at them right now, though.
All right. Any comments about the minutes from the last meeting? Any changes anybody wants to make? All right, we have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Or, yep,
Second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, no public comment or discussion. No request. All right, let's get to the old business. First on the agenda is discussion of the mitigation amount for the removed town linden at Upper Farm Road for the last select board hearing. Any comments? Anybody have any ideas here as far as what it should be?
Look, Chairman, it's the state mitigation law, the one that we use for the illegal takedown of the tree, also has a stipulation for permissible takedowns. It allows for basically equal cost replacement, whereas the illegal takedown is a 3 times cost. Trying to find a tree that size online out of a nursery is kind of tough.
So I think we should go at least 2 inch per caliper inch on trees. So at every 1 inch we get a 2 inch tree.
So yeah, so that would be an easier factor. Factor. So was that a 12 or 14 inch?
Now
Can I add something?
Yep.
Charlie, maybe you know the answer to this. What can we ask for within the sort of confines of the state regulations as it's close, as closely as it's spelled out to our bylaw?
It'd be state laws for a 1-to-1 because this is allowed. So if you were to find, the problem is trying to find, like, that's what we would say, 12 or 14 inch linden. Try to find one of those in a nursery with a cost attached to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you could, and say it was $10,000, we could ask for equal amount because it's being allowed to come down.
Right. So I think we have to work from there. In other words, say it's a 1-for-1 ratio of mitigation value. But since we cannot do it in one tree, likely, then that cost should be split up into, I don't know, this is kind of maybe a discussion for the board. Maybe there are 3 trees that are planted, maybe not all on that property, but maybe we have 2 trees that go somewhere else as a, that seems to me a reasonable way to go with this.
Yeah, we could hunt around on the internet and find. I think I was able to find when I did a quick search the last time, and I didn't bring with me I could find like 4 to 6 inch.
Yeah.
Fairly size tree to transport and plant. So if you called it, 4, maybe 3 of those equals the value. And Jim had asked about. It said he wanted to plant 2 on the property. They're obviously planting those trees. Probably wait till whatever construction is done, so we can pick the best spot. Maybe there's only room for 1 on the property by the time the driveway gets reconfigured, but that would allow us then 2 trees to put somewhere else that we feel appropriate.
Yeah, I had a conversation with him, and I made him aware of the fact that he suggested in the hearing that he wanted me to plant them, which I don't want to have anything to do
Yeah,
with.
you're not responsible for
No,
that.
I'm not even gonna get involved in that.
Right.
They'll do the planting on town property after the construction's done.
Yes.
This fall.
Yes.
It wouldn't be before then. But it's what we gotta. We have a precedent as far as have what a value of a tree is with and this gets to the West Creek Road elms. The rain animal thing, where I believe the selectmen stipulated a $12,000 figure of mitigation, correct? Is that Charlie, do you
Sounds all right. I'd have to go,
I
I'd
think
have to
it
go back
was.
and look at the meeting.
Now, if we figure the linden was a 2 foot diameter tree, 2 foot caliper tree.
I'm gonna cut in, Dave. This is where I should have been notified that it had been passed. So I could have went and got a measurement
Yep,
instead of throwing up numbers,
yep,
hoping we can catch something that looks right by eye,
right.
you know,
right.
but I was never notified until the public notified me that the tree was coming down.
I mean, there's plenty of pictures of it, you know, that Jim submitted to the tree. If we can easily gauge, that
Yeah.
from the pictures, I would think.
Well, there's that, if we need a scale, I bet you the sign is still tacked to the house now. The sign that said whatever building group is probably tacked to the house now, so just take a relative scale off of that. We could probably get a good, pretty good idea.
Because that filled up it just filled up.
Yeah.
So that will give us a deviation. So,
So are there other precedents where trees have been taken down? I guess they were given permission to take it down, but we still request mitigation to plant new replacement trees?
well, when Rob McNeil was head of the DPW, he had a tree credit program, you know, whereas he allowed something that he generated unto himself, but you know, where the person that wants to take a tree down pays a nursery out here with what he called credits, but I mean, basically you're paying them X amount of money for so many credits for the caliper inch, I think, or he had some kind of formula, didn't he, Dale?
Yeah, I can't remember.
I can't remember what it was, but so many caliper inches for, I don't know. There's a little bit of precedent, but not really. So,
Yeah, it'd be something I think we should establish, you know, when we hear back from legal with what we proposed, we'll make sure that we, you know, put in the 1-to-1, you know, ratio thing, and maybe there is where we say that we're setting the 1-to-1 at, you know, $1,800 per inch instead of, you know, 3 times, or not, you know.
well, I think we've bandied around a little bit, the like $500 a caliper inch for the so that translates to 12,000,
Yeah.
similar to what was stipulated for the West Creek Road.
I just, I sorry to interrupt. I don't think I think it has to be definitely something that is clear and within just a state. Is there a state statute that we can reference, like you were saying, Charlie? You know, and if the 1-to-1 is it, then I think that's where we have to start. We can't be arbitrary or we can't be vague and trying to cite precedent that's vague. So I think we need to start right now on this one from a very clear, trackable, and already, you know, in writing somewhere. So even if we're not getting the full value, I think it's going to be important that we stick with something very defensible.
Maybe the simplest thing would be to call Craig and just say,
This is
could you find me a 24-inch linden, and what's it cost to get, what it costs to get it here to the island?
Yep.
And you know, we could then estimate the cost to get it into the ground.
or it could be 2 12-inch trees to put it in the ground.
But well, obviously, even if he could find a nursery somewhere that had a 24-inch, like what would they sell it to us for? So now that's a 1-to-1. And for permit, I guess that we could, maybe that's the precedent to set before.
Yeah,
If we get to this point where somebody else wants to take a tree down, and it's allowed, whether through this board or through the select board, that the phone call is just made to one of the local nurseries, and we say, can you find me an X number inch, whatever the tree is, and let me know what the cost will be delivered to Nantucket.
I think that's a good way to go, even if it's not, we'll see what it is, but that's probably a good way to go, and he's probably gonna say it's a lot more than $12,000.
Yeah, I mean, I just on iTrees.com, a 3-inch caliper linden is $1,000.
I just don't think, I think that there's not gonna be a 24-inch linden available anywhere. But I think if you can,
Probably down in New Jersey someplace.
if you can find the biggest one you can find, because that's a big tree to buy.
well.
Yeah.
he's-
Buying it and transport.
It's yeah.
Anyway, Jim is on record to say that he would plant two trees.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 trees. No stipulation about the caliper inch or anything else. So, yeah, I think we find out let's just find out I'm thinking what a doable thing, not something, because I don't think we can't plant.
Oh,
Huge
if
tree
you
like
plant
that.
a 24-inch tree, you'd be talking about cranes,
But
front end loaders, it'd be astronomically expensive.
And trying to get it established should be awful.
I'm thinking 5 to 6 inch tree would probably eat up $6,000. I would
Well,
think,
why don't we say this then, just because I think this makes the most sense. We start off saying this is a 1-to-1 ratio of value. Since it's not feasible or available to get a 24, whatever this thing is, were we saying it's 24 inches? I don't think it was 24 inches, but maybe. All right, let's say it was 24 inches. Seeing that it's not feasible to obtain or transport a 24-inch tree, we're going to put the value at, 3, 8-inch caliper trees.
yep. Or let's see what a 5 to 6 inch tree is worth. That would.
I'm
That
just saying, you gotta take the numbers. Take the numbers.
Mhm.
24 inches divided by how many? Do we want to do 6 4-inch, 4 6-inch, 3 8-inch? That's what we have to do. It just needs to be mathematically unambiguous.
Yeah, and then the smaller the caliper, the less the transportation and all the miscellaneous costs to get it here and get it installed. So we probably get better value for a number of smaller caliper trees.
Yeah, I mean,
If
you want
Jim,
we'd be getting the trucking and everything else in that figure, I think. But you still have the planting involved, so that the DPW's time is not for free.
Yeah.
So, we have we gotta figure what the labor is on the project as well, labor and equipment.
Used to quote it usually like if the tree was $300, it was an additional $6 to put it in the ground between labor and equipment.
Yeah.
Plus that, fertilizer, mulch, everything, all in.
So
Was the number I used to use.
I think we have to get all those eggs in a row before and then we send Jim a letter. And the money for the tree gets paid to Surfing Edge Ranger or whatever, or Arrowhead, it doesn't matter, whoever can supply what we want.
Yeah.
I would say we probably have a better chance of what we want, because I'd like, now this is getting to what I'd like to see there is probably more elms along, to go with everything else we want.
Yeah, we'll have to make that clear in the communication that we may be calculating based on a 24-inch linden. But that's translated into dollars, and then the dollars translated into what tree we want. We're not requiring linden trees.
I don't want to plant linden.
No.
That's one of my least favorite trees.
Unfortunately, the rub is nails. I was driving by the airport
Yeah.
the other day. Well, I drive by quite often because that's a good shortcut. But all the lindens we planted in that parking lot
Yeah.
are, I mean, they're thriving. They have no water content in them. I mean,
Yeah.
it has to have something to do with it. All right. Okay, so I'll do some research, and next meeting we can maybe, we'll have the figures together and we'll go from there. All right,
Can I ask one more question? Because I
Yeah.
thought I heard you say on that property, it's not realistic probably to put in more than 1 or 2 trees. I think that was sort of, yeah, and these, but the value is probably for more trees than that. So let's say it would be 4 trees, 4 whatever 6-inch trees. What would happen to the trees, the money for the trees that could not be used on the property? Does that make any sense? Yeah.
yeah, it does, and we've done that.
Yeah,
for-
I thought you said something, but I didn't know quite. How does that work? Does it go into like a fund to put trees elsewhere?
It's a credit, the town has a credit with
Okay.
certain people that are at nursery.
Okay,
Come in and buy trees for various projects.
good. Okay,
And in fact, we'll be discussing that. That's the number 3 on the list for discussion.
and
Yeah.
does he have to replace it with linden? Does it have to be the same tree in these cases? Or
Basically,
could we,
it was up to me, and I told him it's gonna be up to, us as a committee, and specifically, it'll be between Dale and myself to figure out what it is. But I think,
Mhm.
we're of a mind that we wanna have elms there. So that's.
okay, no, I just, so we can, okay,
All right. We'll move on from that. We'll get geared up with all the figures we need. We'll go from there.
I just tried to look up the select board minutes from that hearing and I couldn't find any mention of the
There's,
conclusion.
I know there was discussion you've offered, I think, maybe,
Well, I can
more-
go back and watch the video.
it said you've offered to,
Yeah.
to plant 2 trees, so. But that's all. It's not specific.
Yeah.
How
Well, I think
big,
they
how
looked at it,
small.
to your satisfaction. And so you could-
Right. Yeah, and Jim said to our satisfaction, so I think we go with that, and I think that's probably the way to go, because there's no other precedent for this, so. Right,
Yeah.
not that I know of, that will come in the
Thankfully,
bylaw,
yeah.
that will hopefully come
I
in the
just think
bylaw.
if we can get it out, it'll make people think twice before they start to go through this. Even with the selectmen, they will make them think twice. And realize it's gonna cost you. It's not gonna be a free ride when we deny it and somebody else give it the okay to calm down. It's not gonna be a free ride.
Nope.
So,
Well, we just have to take it one tree at a time, and we win some and we lose some,
Yeah.
but I don't want to lose on this one. I mean, it's, okay, let's, move on to West Creek Road. I don't know if everybody's aware that, West Creek Road, where the 2 town elms, one was allowed to be removed, but with the stipulation that, that they put a credit in with a nursery or whatever for 12,000. I'm pretty sure that was. You have a copy of that, Charlie, or anything
I
from
don't,
that meeting? It's probably so long ago, but I'm pretty sure it was 12,000.
I believe so.
So that was an agreed upon thing to the owners, to the Rainham's. Now, the property's for sale. And I'm really in a quandary about what, if we press them on this, I think we lose a tree. But we lose a tree, maybe not.
Well, the tr-
They might have purchased it.
No, not that I know of. And I can find out if but I doubt it very much.
So they're not gonna do a project with a big building.
They're selling the property,
Yeah, so,
so,
I mean,
I don't-
my,
Go ahead,
sorry,
After you.
well, my reaction when I saw that sign was the crux of their argument was they didn't know when they bought the property that it was a town tree.
But now it's known.
And now it should be known by everybody that it's a town tree, and they certainly have a responsibility to communicate that to the buyer. So the reason for allowing that removal doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And so I would love to be able to claw back that permission from the
Right.
select board and
Right.
say, no, you can't. You didn't build the project, you don't
Yeah.
get to remove the tree.
Yeah, because I think in theory, they've increased the value of what they're selling.
all right, can we formulate a memo to the selectmen? Indicating that, see, we don't have, I mean, it's, if the property is sold, I don't know how we want, how do we want to word that to the select?
The tree still remains a town tree.
Yeah,
Are those trees tagged?
Yes,
Okay, so they are,
yes.
they do have tags.
okay, so how do we want to word that?
I would assume that whatever agreement with if the Rhinos have not paid the mitigation required to remove the tree, that any agreement that was had between the Rhinos and this board and the select board would be null and void on the transfer of the property. Because they came forward, oh, we need to take this tree down so we can put the house here. Someone might have an entirely different idea and try to take the other tree down, which
Okay.
wasn't
Okay,
That's my
agreed
Okay,
upon. So
fine.
my
Okay.
assumption would be that
Good point.
the agreement was null and void. Had they paid the fine and not taken the tree down, they could say, we've already
They bought the
mitigated
tree,
for this
yeah.
tree on, because I believe it was the tree on the corner.
Yep.
Of the road, it was agreed to be taken down
Correct.
because it was the less,
it still is a nice tree.
Yeah.
But
but it was the less
Yeah.
healthy of the two.
Right.
So the other person may decide, they want the house where the inner tree is, so I would assume that agreement has, because it's not been paid.
Right.
Is null and void.
Yeah, unless they're waiting for the sale to go through, at which point they probably reap a greater benefit than what it's gonna cost them for the tree removal process. So, yeah,
I think we have to be very clear that that doesn't transfer to new ownership, and also that they are probably thinking, well, we have this all worked out, those trees you can build whatever you want here. Based on hearings that we've already gone through, I think the crux of this is that they haven't paid for the mitigation.
Mhm.
Because they haven't paid for the mitigation, this deal is null and void. If they had paid for the mitigation, like Charlie says, potentially that could have transferred with a sale, potentially. But I think anybody that's coming in probably does not own the same plans and probably has no plans to do the same thing. But this needs to go, I think, directly to the planning board to say, with the sale of this, and the Rainamos want to push this and take this, I don't know, if I think what you're saying, Dad, is we don't want to run the risk of them kind of saying, well, I guess we just got to pull the trigger and remove the tree and pay the fine in order to, have the value of this property at its maximum potential.
Right.
What you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right. So, but with a value, based on 1-for-1, how big is that?
I can have the number for you tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, that'd be good to know, I mean, nobody's gonna want
Well,
to
yeah,
shell out money that they.
Size of the tree, or accurate size of the.
Oh, the size of the tree, okay.
But I think
Yeah,
that this is definitely a situation where we have to let the planning board know that this is not transfer.
Select board then?
Select board.
select board, sorry, select board, but the planning board also, because they're gonna be probably seeing a set of plans for this. If it
The
sells.
approved plans can be implemented by any owner. Then
Right.
nobody has to go back to the planning board once the plans have been approved. So I don't see how the planning board enters into this conversation.
Again, well, unless it's a different, that's what my thinking that it is, that somebody's not gonna build this building that the Rainamos wanted to build. Somebody's probably gonna build something else. And I don't want the tree to be in play with this
Right.
new plan, you know what I mean? That the reason, like you said very eloquently,
And,
this
and
was the
from
reason,
that,
this was the
man,
reason. that-
have a list of every one of them trees that was planted. I gave them a list, copied list.
And they don't use
So,
it.
Their case was that, you know, they went through all this whole permitting process through HDC, through planning board, through whatever else they had to go through. Not aware that this was a town tree. Now everybody's aware this is a town tree, so a new set of plans, you know, like you said, Mary. This is a known quantity now.
So when it,
I dropped it off years ago.
yeah.
Oh, well, can I take a?
All right, so,
Well, the purchasers, the people who are buying the property will know that they are town trees at this point.
they have
They
medallions.
now have medallions. I think
They do, they
Okay,
are,
I mean, because I could see somebody not wanting to share that information perhaps.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
seller, I mean,
That is probably the case.
What I'm worried about further than that is that as a selling point,
they're gonna use the,
these are already permitted to be removed. And
gotcha.
that's what we have to head off.
All right, so what we gotta say is, that what we have to, as a memorandum to the selectmen, we have to say that because the mitigation has never been paid, to a nurse, to the best of our knowledge, it's never been paid out. And the fact that the Rainamos property is for sale, we're worried that, I don't know what,
Well, it's not that we're worried, it's that we want to ask them to revoke that
okay,
permission.
it should be null and void.
Yeah, and it does not transfer.
In the light
to
of the
owner.
fact that,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
property is for sale.
Well, in light of the fact that the project is not going to be built,
Right,
which is evidenced by the fact that the property is for sale.
Right.
It was the project that required the removal of the tree.
That was all
If there's no project,
stipulation,
there should be
yes.
no removal.
okay, so let's,
so when we ask them to deny the permission, should we ask the select board to put that in writing
Oh, yes.
from them to the Ranimos?
Right. that's good, yeah. So,
And maybe going forward, we stipulate on these permissions that it's specific to that particular
Right.
owner.
Well, yeah, that's specific to that particular set of plans, that
Right.
project. You know, it's
And
not
or-
carte blanche to remove a tree.
Right. Maybe it's not transferable.
Yeah.
okay, well, let's get that, if we can get the memorandum, then we can all, maybe all sign off on it.
We
next-
can't do that without a meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Sign off at the next meeting. And then send it.
Which is, it's a short month because we're a week off.
Right. Okay, good,
Charlie, I'd be happy to work on that.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
yeah, good. That's, okay, that's good. The nice thing about that thing is there was a stipulation, a money stipulation. There wasn't so much. Okay, moving along. Are you gonna be able to do any tree planting this spring?
yes, I'm gonna be doing some planting, I'm picking up trees this week to plant up on the Langwood dock. I did a little small London plane in the front of the information bureau. I couldn't get it back in On Street because how much concrete was poured into the hole up the little piece of curbing.
Yep.
there was no way to get the tree planted without putting it in the middle of the sidewalk, so I planted it in town by the information building.
Okay, yeah.
I'm hoping to get a couple of chairs on South Water.
Yep.
Um,
How about the, we gonna do anything with the planting at along Steamboat Wharf, along Lower Broad Street?
well, that's a situation where we gotta figure out, I think the best way to deal with that, we gotta raise that up because that floods so bad.
Yeah.
And another thing we can do is swamp maples, swamp oaks or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
And elms will.
I was gonna vote for elms.
I mean, elms would be fine, you know, because, you know, if we can get the one,
Yeah.
you know, we get a vase shape, that's gonna be up above.
But the only problem with depending on the size of elm we pick, the water table is so shallow down there. By the time I'm that deep, I'm already in water.
Well, elms grow in a swamp.
So I know I get that, but I'm just saying size wise.
Yeah.
But I think you have a good idea to build a raised bed.
I'm
because
just,
the-
I mean,
The trucks are already higher
yeah,
up.
I just think we can raise it up to from the sidewalk to that height and just have a bump out so people can walk around.
Yeah. But is that enough of a root mass where the trees would thrive though? You know, to me, they'd be better off in the ground.
Okay, well, right.
That'd be-
Well,
There's not
yes,
a lot, there's not a lot of room for
Yeah.
anything there, really, you know.
but that's the gateway, so we gotta definitely,
We've started talking about this for 20
I know.
years ago. I think.
that's the gateway. Well, I've planted trees there
Yeah.
since we talked about that way. Oh, believe me, them
No,
oaks,
it's just-
them oaks I planted down there.
Good to revisit that.
So,
Ben, what are those things we used at the Carp's job there? What are those?
They're, I'm trying to remember, Kindred Spirit English Oak. It's a swamp white oak and a hybrid, an English and swamp white.
The Stygian English oak with crossed with the swamp,
yeah,
and they're tough.
Yeah.
But
So, I mean,
that would make a colonnade along there, not a. But we could have, you know, get rid of some of those lousy looking things, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe have kindred spirits along here with maybe a exclamation point of an elm at the end.
so yeah, I mean, I'll visit that one definitely.
I think probably, you know, kindred spirits are a fairly new tree on the radar, but I think they've probably been grown long enough to get some good sized ones. And I know this gets Jim Lehman back into it, but I know he's very interested in doing something.
Yes,
would contribute to it, so.
Just if we can keep the kids from hanging on the trees and messing with them down on the strip late at
Yeah,
night.
it's not, I don't think it's as big a hangout as it used to. be.
It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some kids that have been nothing.
You got-
They're all over Children's Beach.
There's no,
Back in the day.
yeah, back in the day, yeah.
I remember they
I
used
can
to just burn.
picture you with swinging from one of those trees.
Not the
So,
damn kids, right?
what we really need to talk about here is that Linden on the corner of Westchester and.
Yep.
It's driving me up a wall, man.
Still after you on it?
It's,
Well, they don't have a case to take, to take it down.
so,
There's,
only thing she can do is revisit this and then go from there. That's all I got to tell you. You gotta just revisit this and go from there.
yeah, I'm sure they're aware of allowing the Linden on Hoover Farm Road to be moved. Okay, stump grinding, right. Anything on that, Charlie?
I haven't heard anything.
The only stuff brother we have is the one that put on the Bobcats and we can't get that in.
Okay, I thought that went out to bid or something.
Well, the contract is out, but we have one that fits on our
Right, I know,
Bobcat.
I know.
Yes, we can't fit it in there.
That thing is virtually unusable.
You know, the contract just went out for stuff brother.
Oh, it did.
Yes.
Who got?
No, I haven't heard anything yet.
Because I mean, that goes hand in hand with tree clearing.
Yes, I mean, I think as soon as the tree come down, the stump should be removed, then we can get back in there and get it done. But the contract just went out, right, Charlie?
Or it's been out, things have been a little slow. Procurement thing.
Well, town meetings.
Yeah, but I believe it is out and live, so I'll have to check on the date.
Now, how much do we have, like, for instance, the surfing at your angel?
We got 3,000 in one account, and I didn't ask about the tree fund.
Okay,
Can
there
you
should be
get that?
5,000 in that anyway. I checked with Terry Palmet, who was in charge of the money, and he thinks it was transferred, so there might be even more somewhere. Maybe the town might have just gotten it directly. I don't know.
Okay, is Terry still around?
Yes.
He's still around?
Yep.
Pretty low profile.
Yeah, I haven't. I didn't. He just left a message. I had called him about it because I had a check that I've had in my desk for forever, and it was the other 5,000 that, and I checked at the bank before I gave it to Craig, and they had no record of it, so it must have been the money. The rest of the money must have been transferred
Okay.
somewhere. So it's floating around there and somewhere. All right, medallions. Charlie, I forgot to bring. There we go.
There's a sample of what I'm proposing. Although I have thought more about the QR code, I think I'll have to change where it lands. So that QR code takes you to the tree bylaws. What I think I'd like to do is change it to land on the tree advisory committee webpage, where we could then put a link to the bylaws, and then looking at some other towns, looking at our page is pretty weak. A lot of other towns have got like best practices for planting, or how to properly prune. I think there's a lot of information we can kind of pull together just to bolster the tree page.
I'd also like to see a little, like public service announcement about town trees that before you do anything with a tree, you should check to see if it's a town
Almost
tree.
like a dig safe
Yeah,
line.
yeah.
And certainly Arbor Day, which is past, would be a prime opportunity to get some information out maybe next year in conjunction with Arbor Day.
I think this is gonna be,
Yeah.
Can you hold it up or take a picture of it and send it to me? Why don't you just take a picture of it and text it to me if you would?
Or hold it to the camera.
Yeah, or if you can hold it to the camera.
I guess the only question I would ask is, do we want to put, genus and species on there, or do we prefer them to just be more generic?
I think, I mean, it would, is there enough room on there to do everything? I don't, the number of the tree doesn't have to be that big. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's on there now. Everything's on there.
Yeah.
So just whether it ultimately would come down to
so the generic name for is on the QR code?
No, it's not in the QR code, but it's on the tag. So I can print on the tags. We could print tags for elms, tags for lindens, tags for cherries.
Yep.
And then when they get put up, it would just be a matter of putting
The number.
the
They get put up.
yeah. Correct. Or they're just generic, where it's just a number, which would make it a little easier. Then we can just reach in, grab a random one and just stick it on a tree.
Yeah, I mean, you go down the street and it's elm. I mean, obviously it's an elm, it's not like we're in an arboretum, but, so, yeah.
I think it doesn't have to be, I was just gonna say, it doesn't have to be a guided tour by tags. I think that would be a little too much to.
It makes it quicker to print for me, that way I don't have to change the names out.
I think that
change
the
number.
most important thing is it has a number that coincides with the GIS thing.
And
that
should
we'll
we,
eventually have.
Should we change the TNC to something else now?
What's this town of
So
Nantucket?
they'll say town of Nantucket, public,
I don't think we
We
should.
don't need, we
public,
don't
public
need,
shade tree.
we don't need, Nantucket Tree Commission.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
didn't know you had put that on there.
Yeah, we don't need,
I
we
just
don't
think
need
it's-
that
you
anymore,
did
because
this?
that's not a,
He's right in the office.
You serious?
So Ben and Judy, I just emailed that photo.
I just, yeah, I think.
Oh,
it's just
good.
Thanks.
no.
So I think saying town of Nantucket public shade tree on there, people know what it is.
That's the
If
message.
you look at one of the old ones, it says TAC and a number, you're going,
And I'm gonna walk
Okay.
around and
What's-
replace
what is
every
it?
single one of them. Or add this to a tree that has the
Sure.
NTC number.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
Yep,
Yeah.
for sure.
So,
Now, what I'm thinking, Dale, is Charlie was talking about putting this, something spring loaded, but I don't know.
or even just a 3 inch, but I was thinking a 3 inch stainless steel screw.
yes, I mean, not even 3 inches, I mean, 1 1/4 would do.
Yeah, whatever.
With stainless steel.
Not a screw, though, a lag bolt.
With the hex head,
It would be harder to get it, somebody could come with a screwdriver, and screw this.
not with the hex book, they couldn't, they would have to go get the special.
Right, right, that, right.
Yeah, I was thinking like the Torx head.
Yeah, the Torx head, yes.
The
Now-
225.
Let me just bring this up.
So
What
we
you
just-
wanna do, what you wanna do is, let's see if I can just pull this up quickly.
It's very nice.
It is very nice, made right here in this office.
Really looks good, Charlie.
Impressive. Guy give me a metal business card.
This
a while
doesn't really
ago,
show
it's
it.
like, Really?
See that? They've held, this is from Smith College, they've held it off. But if we're just, I think we only need one thing, and they sell these little stainless sleeves that would hold this off.
And then it'll press up against it.
This would, the bolt would through here, through the sleeve,
Little collar.
and that would hold that off the tree, and I think it'd make it look nice. Because I mean, this could get, we didn't do it that way. I think it would,
Well, that depends on how
Stay
tight
nice
you
and
put
straight.
it, how tight you put it against the tree. They can always spin it to read it, you know what I mean?
this way, I think.
Don't we have the hole should be up a little higher just so it doesn't
Doesn't
flop
flip.
around.
Yeah, I can play around with where
Right,
I thought it was just
right.
I get it.
place where it was way of anything
That's
else.
a good point. But it's still gonna do that,
Right,
right?
you put a washer or something behind it, and let some moisture.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
That's
is
what I'm
the
saying,
sleeve.
a little-
There's a
little
little,
spacer.
little stainless steel spacer that would be mounted. So maybe we
Finish
need,
washer or something.
I think maybe we need, that's probably a good point. Anywhere we put the hole, it's still gonna do this.
And I don't think we necessarily need to number it because we put it on various different trees, instead of trying to match up numbers.
I'm not following.
You know, I mean, this is tree number 1, and this number is tree number 563.
Yeah.
So we just do this without adding,
Right, yeah, so it's a generic. like-
Just take the number off.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's
No,
what
no,
I,
don't take your
because,
number
I mean, you're trying to match up numbers, I mean, it just.
So, but you've gotta have something that somebody can say, I saw this tree has a number on it.
Right, or I bought this house and
What
I've
is
got,
it? Yeah,
I've got tree number 2021 on my property.
yeah.
What is, to
Yeah,
get the
like a
information.
telephone pole.
Particularly when we finally do get through this GIS mapping.
Yeah.
We wanna have a number
Yeah.
on this.
Okay.
We wanna
I
have. a
can make,
number.
I can make you generic ones for the trees that already have tags, because they already have a number.
Yeah.
So that way you're not pulling up, I think what you're getting at is, in order to pull up the tree, like it says, all right, it's an old tag, it says TAC 82, Dale's flipping through, 1,000 tags to find 82 to put it on that same tree.
Yeah.
I can do generic ones without the number to re-tag old trees to put the Nantucket.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out to keep it simple.
Yeah, I think the most important thing though, going forward in the long lens is having a number that identifies a tree so it can be referenced in a database. That's really the idea here. And it doesn't matter if number 1000 is next to number 5. It's just a number that references the tree. So I think that's critical.
Because you can have multiple town trees on one property, so you need to uniquely identify each tree.
And
Well, not, Dale, I don't think it'll add any, like additional work to your end. It's just for,
Yeah, I've been doing this 30 years. I'm not worried about work.
no, I know that, but it's not, what I'm saying is it
It's not
doesn't,
what I'm worried about.
the number, you don't have to worry about the numbers. The numbers are on the tree, and then whoever is putting these trees in a database worries about the numbers. Worries what the reference is, right? They're saying there's a tree on the corner of Orange and Cherry Street. It's number 562. That goes in the database. It's like, you know what I mean? It doesn't make it any less simple to install them, I don't think.
And there's a QR code, I assume that's a reference, which it has the number in it.
No, so this would, right now, the QR code that's on here brings you to the town tree bylaws.
Okay, so that's not specific.
In order,
to
yeah,
tag
so
of the tree.
I can't change this once it's printed.
I see. Okay.
So in order to print individual QR codes for individual
Yeah,
location, I'd have to know the
back
tree,
to-
the GPS coordinates, and then it would be extremely involved. Where, you know, this takes, I forget what these take me to do. If I'm just changing the number, I can basically write that into the program, and it's say 5 minutes a card.
Sure.
If I had to go in and do individual QR codes
Too
for each
complicated.
one, I mean, it actually takes, this QR code on this itself probably takes about 20 minutes to print. Just because it's got to do all those little dots. And so the more information, I did a sample one that did lead back to an individual location. And it took about 40 minutes to print, because it's just, the more information you try to pack into a QR code, the more it changes what's there.
And are we wedded to the horizontal orientation?
No, you can,
I mean, if
you can read a
if
QR
we're
code.
vertical,
Yeah, but that works with Town of Nantucket Public Shade Tree. If we're going vertical, it
Yeah,
would
you're not gonna
be
get
a lot harder.
okay, no, I'm just thinking it would hang.
Oh, you know, if you were, if it does the QR code, if you scan it upside down, it still goes to the
So
same
he's
place.
talking about the tech.
We don't want it vertical. We
Yeah.
want it,
Yeah.
we want it horizontal.
And then my only other suggestion, the higher up we make the screw with, so it doesn't
Right.
get flipped.
Yeah, it could go in the same location above the one
Yeah,
here, so
Yeah.
it would always hang in
You
this
don't want to go
position.
too high to weaken it, but yeah,
I think we have to do it.
so that's where the QR
Now,
code goes.
okay, that's great.
hand in hand with this is we have heard from Will. Mary, it was just you, Charlie, and myself that were privy to this information, right? Why don't I just read what Will wrote back about the GIS mapping?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. All right, I do have access to the data in raw form.
It's from Will Dellerberg, who's
Yeah.
currently with Natural Resources, but did the inventory with the GPS device a couple years ago.
Right, so he said he couldn't make it. It's a bit wild. We had to cancel the Anyway, the inventory is very much subject of a grant that Vince and I are working on. We talked to Vince a few meetings back. It'll be sometime before movement happens. We are currently in the funding planning phase. The summer I spent collecting data. We captured close to 1,000 trees between Sconset and town with various data points per tree. This data would be a fantastic start for an inventory arboriculture firm to develop a workable tree inventory for us. So he's already talking about, we hire an outside.
Yeah, so what he's referencing is tying together the information we already have with the grant that Vince is working on. Should we get it? We've also, Drew was looking at the raw data the other day. We've got to get it compiled a little bit better, but we're going to try to get that data that exists into the GIS system as soon as possible, and then worry about everything else. If and when we get the grant, what that looks like and how to hire, what firm we might bring in. We'd also we're working on trying to get summer intern help. So at some point, if we can get a summer intern, we'll get them hopefully, in a vehicle, possibly with Dale 1 day a week running around, just slapping these things on trees. Because we gotta,
But the closer we get in the summer, tougher it's gonna be for me to set up during the workshop.
Yeah. So that's kind of the.
Or I can even start whenever we get enough of them printed out.
Back in the office Wednesday, I'll start printing them
I mean,
out.
I can start putting them up. Cause I mean, that's almost a whole summer job by itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it was just, I think I kind of joked with Drew that, Will did the easy areas.
Yeah.
First, downtown Wisconsin, by the airport, it's pretty easy to know it's a town tree. It'll be those outlying areas where, it's all the knowledge resides with you.
Do we have medallions on the airport trees?
some we did have a medallion.
We probably don't need, actually, just a little sign. Well, it doesn't
You know,
matter. It's a town- it's a
I
town-
want to get them on all the school trees because I think the school think they own trees.
Yeah.
On that property.
Well, they paid for them.
But they're town trees.
Right.
And that's like me buying a tree and putting it in town sidewalk.
Right.
It's no different.
Yep.
I mean, they bought them, but they are.
Okay, all right, good. Well, we covered a lot. What, anything?
Old business, that, well, I guess swamp maple at the Higginbotham house. I mean, it's starting to leaf out. I mean, can that, just a dead wood come out of there and?
She won't let, Marcia Fader won't let Dale work in that tree. I mean, it's leafed out.
They start really well.
Yeah, so maybe we don't want to do anything with it and just prune.
Well, that's what I'm suggesting, because I'm just looking at that, it's just gonna leave a huge hole there.
Yeah, for sure.
And she's got rid of all the fences. I mean, that property, it used to have pastas, it was all nice and vegetated,
Yeah,
and it's starting to look like scorched earth over there. I mean, if we could get the dead wood out, make it safe, and that would be preferable.
well, I think we have based on the town council's opinion on what a town tree is, the root system is in the road.
I worked on that tree 25 years ago with Rodney Geiger.
She doesn't, I think we have a basis to work on that tree, and there might be a difference of opinion, but it's in the opinion of town council, it's essentially a town tree, no matter what. So,
And I mean, could we work on it under the guise of public safety as a precedent? And
well,
then,
certainly, because it is dangerous.
and then we just establish that history.
Yep.
And then we can move forward and just thinking longer term, we maintain possibly the ability to put a replacement in at some point in the future. I don't think she's a big fan of trees and in general, and we've lost the other trees down the street there.
Yep.
And it's all part of the streetscape.
How is that Catalpa looking? One that's
Well, that's the last thing to leaf out.
Yeah.
We don't really see it until we see some leaf break. It's definitely gonna have some.
I was driving by your house today and that honey locust that's in front of Jeff Schneider's house. That's a town tree,
Yes.
right? And there's one in the
The woods that is
shrubs there
just
too,
covered in
just
ivy.
before that.
It's covered in ivy. I gotta get in that too.
That was planted during the foot.
Yeah.
I guess. Must have. Anyway,
Yeah, not one at my house. I mean. it's
do
just-
you have a honey locust at your house too? Yeah.
It needs work and, it's just a lot of deadwood, so.
Yeah. But that's a town tree too.
I'm not sure. I know I put one in the back.
And what's the yard? Does he have one? I don't think he does.
I don't think he have one in this yard, not town owned.
Tough luck. See, you get you some free pruning there.
Yeah, no, I've been trying, when the road was closed down.
Yeah.
Choreographed.
Right.
Yeah, I was just trying to lock down as much animal as I could during that time, which was tough on me.
Oh, yeah, no, they.
Then I was running
Right along
behind
those guys.
Yeah, then running behind the guys, make sure they didn't do any root damage.
This Robert Howard outfit, I think they do a nice job, nice bunch of guys, and.
They do clean work. They do clean work. They
Yeah.
do good.
Yeah.
Well, the jury's still out a little. I want to see what's gonna happen with all the trees that were adjacent to all this work, so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So what, when the new business?
But anyway, so that the Higginbotham tree, I think we've got a reprieve on that,
I hope so.
if it can be cleaned up.
Right, Dale, so you're good with that?
I'm good with
So I just did a little searching in the INM archives on Atheneum's website. And I saw that Nantucket had a tree department, the earliest mention was 1901. So
Right,
we've been funding tree work since then. And I found a mention of, in the NHA archives, of a law being passed to protect trees in 1866.
is it still in effect?
I don't know what the law is, I just
Yeah.
saw the note, the law was
Yeah.
passed. So, you know, we've been trying to take care of trees for a very long time.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, that was great, I love that, how much they get paid a year.
Yeah.
That was-
The department budget in 1901 was $300
Yep.
for the year.
It's crazy. Nantucket was a different place. All right, well, you got a meeting coming up,
Yes, I
Charlie,
do.
so
2 minutes.
we gotta vacate the place. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All right.
Second.
All in favor? See you next time. It'll be regularly scheduled third Thursday, so we'll see you all then.
Thanks, sir.
Did the DPW get that funding for the vehicles?
The town meeting, yes.
Okay, yeah, because that was on the